We have a quick injury update for you today. There are a lot of players popping up on the injury report that is worth taking note of going into week 4. So let's dive right in. And starting off, we have Christian McCaffrey, who's dealing with a thigh injury. He popped up on the injury report on Wednesday. And head coach Matt Rule said that he was unaware of the injury until after Sunday's game. So you can only assume it happened during the game. But he did not practice on Wednesday, so you're going to want to monitor his practice status going into the weekend to see if he's going to be able to suit up on Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. Next, we have running back Dalvin Cook, who's dealing with a shoulder injury. He's dealt with this injury in the past. Basically, his shoulder comes out of place. They can pop it back in. But he did miss some time last season with the same injury, so it wouldn't be surprising if he missed this week's matchup in London against the New Orleans Saints. So monitoring his practice status going into the weekend is going to be super important. He did not practice Wednesday, so if he's unable to suit up, Alexander Madison will take over the workload. Next, we have Deandre Swift, who's dealing with a shoulder sprain as well as an ankle injury, and head coach Dan Campbell came out and said they're considering sitting him the next couple of weeks. The Lions have a week 6 bye, so that would give them 3 weeks to recover, and they'd likely bring him back week 7. But it's unsure if that's the route they're going to go. He's likely going to sit this week against Seattle. So if you have DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Craig Reynolds become viable options against the Seahawks. Next, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's dealing with an ankle injury. The team came out and said it's not considered serious or long-term, but it could cause him to miss this week's matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. He did not practice Wednesday, so it sounded like he's more likely going to be out this week. So DJ Chark and Josh Reynolds become viable fantasy options this week if he sits. Some good news for New York Jets fans. Zach Wilson has been cleared to play football and will start this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, bearing any setbacks. So Joe Flacco back to the bench, but man, that guy has been slinging the ball. But Zach Wilson will come in, make his season debut Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, bearing any setbacks. Next, we have Jameis Winston, who has multiple fractures in his back as well as an ankle injury. He did play through these injuries last week, so there's a chance he'll suit up this week, but he did not practice on Wednesday, and Andy Dalton did get first team reps. So this is worth monitoring going into the weekend if you have Jameis Winston. If he's unable to suit up, Andy Dalton will get to start against the Minnesota Vikings in London. Last, we have Mac Jones, who's dealing with a high ankle sprain, and it's highly unlikely that he's going to be able to suit up this week against the Green Bay Packers. So Brian Hoyer will get to start in his place. I expect this team to lean on the run a ton, so I like Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson as fantasy options this week. But that's going to do it for us today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, line them up.